Alright, so good morning to each and everyone kasi umaga ko ito nire-record. Okay, so balik tayo. Proceed na tayo sa panibago nating topic which is all about the basic concepts of the organic chemistry. Okay, so medyo bago to sa pandinig natin at sa tingin natin medyo mahirap, no? Kasi may mga makikita tayo mga iba't ibang mga shapes, iba't ibang mga letters. Malalaman natin dito later on sa mga susunod na slides kung ano-ano ba yung mga basic na concepts dito sa organic chemistry. Okay, so organic chemistry kasi baka ninyo na baka maisip ninyo yung inorganic at saka organic yung isa po. Magkaiba po yung inorganic. Medyo na ano lang ako sa pagsasabi na inorganic at saka inorganic, no? Magkaiba po siya, no? So, mamaya malalaman natin kung ano yung pinakaiba nila. But later on, masyado ko kayo nai-spoil. So, nandito tayo ngayon, no, sa topic natin sa basic concepts ng ganitong klaseng field, no? So, organic chemistry is the study of the structure, properties, composition, reactions, and preparation of carbon-containing compounds. Most organic compounds contain carbon and hydrogen, no? Meron silang relationship with each other, but they may also include any number of other elements, just like yung mga nitrogen, oxygen, mga nasa halogen groups, just like bromine, no? Fluorine, and so on and so forth. Malalaman natin doon later on kung ano yung mga halogen elements na yan, phosphorus, silicon, sulfur, and so on and so forth. And then this field plays a vital role in understanding the living systems since they are composed mainly of organic compounds harvested from the nature or synthesized in laboratories. So even the materials which are burned to sustain and power civilizations are organic materials found in coal and petroleum. In fact, no, this field has helped revolutionize the way people live today. It is responsible for the development of very important materials such as nylon and lycra, no, or kung ano man yung pronunciation niya, correct me if I am wrong, for some typical kind of fabrics, no? Velcro for fasteners, Kevlar used for the bulletproof vests, and polyvinyl chloride or PVC na ginagamit kadalasan sa mga pipes natin. And then meron tayong characteristic comparison between organic compounds at saka inorganic compounds. Sabi ko po sa inyo, meron po silang pinagkaiba. Okay? So, dito muna tayo sa organic compounds, no? So, they are solid, liquid, and gases. Dito naman sa inorganic compounds, generally, they are solids only. Then, dito naman, next bullet naman, they are low melting and boiling points in terms of organic compounds. Sa inorganic naman, they have a high melting and boiling points. Sa organic compound, meron silang covalent bonding. Sa inorganic compounds naman, meron silang ionic bonding. Then sa organic compounds, they are insoluble in water, while inorganic compounds, they are soluble in water. And yun nga katulad sinabi ko sa organic compounds, since they are highly soluble dun sa organic solvent, and sa inorganic, they are mostly insoluble dun sa organic solvents. And then lastly, sa organic compounds usually decompose on heating, and sa inorganic compounds naman, they usually do not decompose on heating. Alam ko meron pa po ito. So sa organic, they're volatile, while sa inorganic is non-volatile. Sa organic naman, they have inflammable, easily catch fire, and sa inorganic, they have non-inflammable, easily catch fire. No? So sa organic compounds, they does not conduct electricity. They have a slow reaction with other chemicals and mostly colorless compound. Sa inorganic naman, kaya nila makapag-conduct ng electricity, and then usually they undergo fast chemical reaction and they mostly colorful compounds. So ganun po yung characteristics ng organic at inorganic compounds. Pag-usapan natin yung carbon. So, in terms of carbon, many organic compounds are formed because of the special characteristics of the element carbon. A carbon atom has 4 valence electrons. This kind of atomic structure makes the carbon atom able to form 4 covalent bonds with atoms of other elements. And then carbon atoms can also make many types of arrangements, just like single bond, double bond, and triple bond. No, malalaman natin siya later on. And then with these abilities of the carbon atoms, chemical bonds between carbon atoms and other elements can form different kinds of compounds with short and long, straight and branched chain structures, such as the following compounds. Just like this. Yung example natin is methane, isopropyl, and then acetylene. No? Minsan may makikita tayo mga single bonds lang. Yung single bond, isa lang po siyang linya, isang straight line. Kapag double bonds, usually double nga po, di ba? And then kaya dalawa yung kanyang guhit. And then kapag triple bonds, tatlo naman po yung kanilang guhit. Katulad po na nakakita yung triple bonding ng acetylene, no, sa pagitan ng dalawang carbon na nasa gitna doon. And then next naman po, they are organic compounds composed mainly of carbon and hydrogen, which is tinatawag nating hydrocarbons. Tandaan po natin, masasabi nating organic compound, no, ang isang ang isang carbon kapag meron silang linking relationship together with hydrogen, no? Kapag, for example, CO2, carbon dioxide, madedetermine pa po ba natin siyang inorganic or organic compound? Usually, may mga nagsasabing organic compound kasi syempre, literally, in literal sense, nakikita natin dito yung carbon, but usually walang linking relationship doon yung hydrogen. Bakit po? Tignan natin ang chemical compound ng carbon dioxide. So, ang carbon dioxide is CO2. May hydrogen po ba doon? Ang present lang pong elements doon is carbon at saka oxygen only. Wala pong hydrogen, no? And then, yun, kaya nasabi ko siyang inorganic. And then, next po, in terms of saturated, meron tayong dalawang klaseng hydrocarbons. They are saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. Ano yung pinagkaiba ng dalawang yan? Saturated hydrocarbons, they have a single bonding, and carbon has 4 single bonds, the maximum number of bonds that can have. No? So yun yung saturated hydrocarbons, and then unsaturated hydrocarbons, they have multiple bonds with 2 or more atoms. So usually yung tinutukoy dito is double bond at saka triple bonds. So ayun po yun. So mag-proceed na tayo sa saturated hydrocarbon. It is also known as alkanes, no? And then usually yun nga, malalaman natin dito later on. Ano ba to? This is followed by, the simplest alkane is methane. This is followed by ethane, propane, and butane. The structures of these hydrocarbons are presented below. Hindi naman below, on the side of this presentation. No? I'm sorry about that. Just like methane, ethane, propane, at saka butane. Bakit siya naging alkanes? Present date, ang balikan natin kasi nakita natin sa saturated hydrocarbons, ang characteristic niya is only single bonds only. Is single bonds only, no? Medyo naging redundant ako. So ayan, more on single bond, isang guhit lang sila. Okay? So alkanes that form long lines or chains are called aliphatic or aliphatic hydrocarbons. These are normal straight chain or unbranched hydrocarbons. However, the chains are not linear. They actually form a zigzag structure because of the tetrahedral nature of carbon. So ayan po ang kanilang structure as well as their molecular structure. So, yan po. So, the structures of the hydrocarbons may also be simplified further by following the shape of their 3D structures without including the hydrogen atoms. The result looks like a series of zigzag lines with each end and corners representing the carbons. So, pwede natin siyang i-relate sa molecular structure, which is nakadetermine dito yung 3D structure, at pati na rin sa skeletal formula niya or line angle formula or line angle notation in some other books or other references. So, pero mamaya dadaanan natin yun. So, the general formula for writing alkanes is CnH2n plus 2. This means that the formula for methane with 1 carbon is, in typical sense, is CH4. No? Nakita naman natin, C1 plus C1H2, 1 plus 2. So, i-multiply muna natin yung yung 2 times 1, so 2 times 1 is equals to 2, and then 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. So instead of lalagyan pa natin ng 1 dito, automatic na yan. Automatic na po sa isang element present na dito yung isang carbon chain. Or not carbon chain, but isang carbon atom. So this formula is true for all alkanes as long as they are saturated and aliphatic. The formula for the first 10 aliphatic hydrocarbons and their corresponding names are presented in the table on the next slide. So, ayan na yung condensed molecular formula. Follow the general, yan nga. Yan na siya. Yan yung kanyang molecular formula. And then, condensed structural formula. And then, their respective names. Just like methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, decane. So, ganun lang siya. And then, usually, yung methane, present lang dyan ng isang carbon. Ethane, 2 carbon. Propane, 3 carbon, butane, 4 na carbon, pentane, 5 carbon, hexane, 6 carbons, heptane, 7 carbons, octane, 8 carbons, nonane, 9 carbons, and 10 carbons naman para sa decane. So, dito na nga tayo. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na what do you call about this? Na skeletal formula, or in some other references, tinatawag siyang line angle formula or line notation. It is represented in 2 dimensions, and it shows the skeletal structure ng molecule, which is composed of the skeletal atoms that make up the molecule. Every vertex and endpoint is a carbon atom, and all of the hydrogens are implied in this structure. So, bawat endpoints dyan, ito 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, ito yung isang example ng 5-pentane. Actually, na-spoil ko na nga kayo dun sa pagiging example later on. So, meron tayong rules in naming organic compounds. So, in 1892, the IUPAC or International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry has instituted a set of rules in naming organic compounds such as alkanes. So, ito na nga po. Number 1, we must identify the longest carbon chain containing the highest order functional group. This will be called the parent chain and will be used to determine the root of the name. Keep in mind that if there are double or triple bonds between carbons, they must be included. So ganun po yun. So if one of the functional groups would provide a suffix for the compound, for example, an alcohol, then the parent chain must contain this functional group. No? Tandaan natin yan. Keep in mind that the highest priority functional group with the most oxidized carbon will provide the suffix. And then next po, we must determine the number of chains. As a convention, the carbon numbered one will be the one closest to the highest priority functional group. If the functional groups all have the same priority, numbering the chains should make the numbers of the substituted carbons as low as possible. Then number 3, name the substituents, or para mas malinawan tayo, ano yung mga substituents? They are functional groups that are not part of the parent chain. No? The substituent's name will be placed as at the beginning of the compound name as a prefix followed by the name of the longest chains. Number 4, assign a number to each substituent. Pair the substituents that you have named to the corresponding number in the parent chain. Multiple substituents of the same type will get both the di, tri, and tetra prefixes that we have previously noted, and also a carbon number designation even if they are on the same carbon. Yun po yung tandaan natin. And then number 5, complete the name of the hydrocarbon. Names always begin with the names of the substituent in alphabetical order, with each substituent preceded by its number. Note that the prefixes like di, tri, and tetra, as well as the hyphenated prefixes like n and tert are ignored while alphabetizing. No? Makikita, may apply natin ito later on sa ating sample problems para mas talagang maintindihan natin kung ano ibig sabihin yan. Non-hyphenated roots that are part of the name, however, are included. These are modifiers like iso, neo, or cyclo. The numbers are separated from each other with commas and from words with hyphens. Finally, we finish the name with the name of the backbone chain, including the suffix for the functional group of highest priority. So number 6, the substituent should be listed in alphabetical order, making sure not to include the prefixes. No, just like this. No, you pent, hex, hep, oc, non, at saka dec. No. So in terms of structural isomerism, it occurs when two molecules have the same formula but different structures or different structure or arrangement of atoms. An example is butane, which can have two isomers, just like this, yung N-butane. Yan. Both N-butane and isobutane have the formula of C4H10, but differ in the way the carbon are attached. The lowercase n before butane means normal or straight chain. Iso means an isomer of that alkane. Isobutane is a common name. Yun, just remember that. To determine the IUPAC name, the following steps should be taken. So, first pa, no? So, identify the longest unbroken chain. In this case, if you count the carbons from left to right, no, you will get 3. Counting from top to bottom only yields 2. The numbering may also start from the other end, but since the substituent is located midway between the two, either numbering is acceptable. No? Kasi may mga ganong cases lalo na kapag nasa midway ang mismong substituent, makikita natin siya later on. No? Kasi medyo nagugulang pa tayo pagdating dito, and once na in-apply natin, magigets natin kung ano ibig sabihin na number 2. So, just like this, ayan, nakita natin yung kanilang parent chain. Or not parent or principal chain or main chain. So next, number 2, the main or principal chain has 3 carbons. So the base alkane name is propane. So the substituent is methane. No, bakit naging methane yun? Nakita nga natin na methane yung kanyang structure, and then suddenly, therefore the names become methyl. No, there is only one methyl group in the chain, thus no prefix is necessary. Lastly, indicate the position of the substituent, which is the methyl, on the main chain, so you will get 2-methyl propane. So ganun po yung naming niya. Okay, yan, malinaw na tayo dyan. So nandito na tayo sa portion ng ating lesson na papakita ko yung sample problems ng branch chain alkane. No? So ito na po, lilipat po tayo sa ating whiteboard. Okay, so we must proceed to our whiteboard. Nandito na tayo. Okay, so syempre prioritize muna natin yung isa sa mga examples para sa alkane. So, alkane contains a saturated hydrocarbon which consists of single bonds. Inulit ko lang po para po mas malinaw po sa atin kung ano po yung ginagawa natin. Then, meron akong isang skeletal formula na pinakita sa inyo, which is ito po, yung mismong drawing na yan. no? And then suddenly, gagawin po natin, i-identify po natin yung name ng hydrocarbon compound na yan, no? Or yung mismo skeletal formula na yan. So, unahin muna natin yung, before tayo mag-proceed sa identification of this name, naglagay ako ng table of prefixes, no? Para hindi po tayo maligaw or hindi tayo mahirapan, no? Pagdating sa pagdetermine ng kanilang name kung ilang carbons pa yun nandito. So, una, alamin natin yung parent chain. Ito lang naman ang parent chain niya. And then, susunod, kailangan natin identify kung ilang, what do you call about this? Ilan yung carbon na, or carbons na present dito sa bawat vertices or vertex or endpoints na naandito. So, dito sa portion na ito, walang kaso dito yung yung mismong kung alin pa talaga yung kung saan pa tayo magbibilang, kung dito pa sa portion na ito or dito. It doesn't matter about this case, no? Since wala naman siyang branch chain, no? Kapag nandito pa na tayo sa basic. And then gagawin natin, magbibilang na tayo. So ano gagawin natin pag magbibilang? Syempre alam naman natin ang tamang proseso pag nagbibilang, di ba po? And then ito na nga po, bilang tayo, no? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. According to its table of prefixes, nakalima tayo. So ibig sabihin 5 po yung carbons na present dito. And then usually ang gagamitin natin table of prefixes is pent, no? Since 5 siya. And then tandaan natin na ito ay pentane, no? Bakit pentane? Kasi po nandito pa lang po tayo sa alkane, no? Nasa alkane pa lang po tayo, nasa saturated hydrocarbon pa lang po tayo. So in literal sense 5-pentane, no? Kasi usually 5-pentane, and then yung iba hindi na nilalagyan ng 5 kasi automatic ang prefix na pen, it means 5 yung present na carbons dito. So ganun lang po kasi, no? So ganun lang po kadali yung portion na ito, pero i-apply natin dito yung branch chain, no? branch chain naman para medyo may trail ng konti. So, meron ako dito magpapakitang sample. Ayan. Okay. So, at this time, ito yung sample nating skeletal formula. And then, suddenly, identify muna natin yung kanyang parent chain. So, ang kanyang parent chain is, gamit tayo ng red open. Itong portion na ito. Hindi. Gamit tayo ng iba. Ayan. Kung ano yung naka-green, ayun po yun. So, ito po yung kanyang parent chain, no? And then, next po, identify natin yung number ng parent chain. So, saan tayo magsisimula? Dito po tayo magsisimula ng number 1. Okay, bakit dyan po tayo magsisimula? Meron po tayong arbitrary rule na dapat nating i-prioritize. Dapat unahin natin yung kung alin yung mas malapit na branch or ng substituent. Alin yung branch or substituent dito? So, yung branch or substituent na present dito is ito po. So, ang tawag po dyan is substituent, no? Or mas tinatawag natin na methyl. Yan. And then, next po, bilang na po tayo. 2, ito sa portion na ito. And then 3, and then 4. No? Ganun na po kasimple. And then suddenly, dito sa part na ito, identify natin yung, nandito tayo sa portion na papangalanan na natin yung compound. And then, since nakita natin na present yung methyl group dito sa second part ng vertices dito, so ang ipapangalan natin sa kanya is 2- may dash po dapat, methyl. And then, yung carbons natin is, ang carbons na present dito sa skeletal formula natin is 4, which is yung bute, no? So, ang papangalan ko sa kanya is butane, no? Kailangan nakarelay tayo dito sa alkane since nandito pala tayo sa saturated hydrocarbon or single bonds. So, ito po yung pangalan niya, 2-methyl butane. Okay po. Tandaan natin, i-prioritize natin na dapat unahin natin yung numbering direction, no? Kung saan mas malapit yung substituent, no? Ayan. Tama ba yung sinasabi ko? Okay, so next po, purahin natin. So, ayan po. Next po is, I will draw. Ayan. So, ayan po yung next natin, which is, identify natin yung kanyang parent chain. So, ang kanyang parent chain is, ito po. Determine na natin ang kanyang parent chain. So, ayan po yung kanyang parent chain. And then, next po, Yan. Next po is identify na natin yung number ng parent chain. So dapat mas i-prioritize natin yung numbering direction natin kung saan mas malapit. Kung tutusin, sa part na ito medyo nasa edge side sila, pero kung bibilangan natin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 sila. Medyo malapit yung portion ng ano ba tawag dito, ng mismong substituent natin. Try natin sa kabila. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kung tutusin, medyo malayo po dito sa portion nito. At kanina, mas malapit po dito. At nasa 2 carbon chain po yung malapit na substituent. At dito po ay nasa 3. Mas prioritize natin yung kung alin yung mas malapit na substituent dun sa mismong starting point ng mismong linya. So, ulitin po natin. So, ayun po, no? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then, next, meron tayong dalawang present na substituent. Una is ito, which is methyl. And then, itong portion na ito, 1 and then 2, is ethyl. And then, suddenly, ang ipapangalan natin napangalanan na natin yung mismong branches, papangalanan na natin yung compound. And then, meron ditong ethyl at saka methyl. Meron po tayong arbitrary rule. Kailangan naka-alphabetize po yung pagpapangalan natin dito sa portion na ito. Pero bago natin pangalanan, so, ang methyl ay present sa 2 carbon chain. 2 methyl at saka 5 ethyl. And then suddenly, since 7 ito ay hep, no? Or heptane. So, ang pangalan niya is ito. Kailangan prioritize natin yung pagpapangalan. Alin na mas nauna? Methyl or ethyl. By the way, yung heptane hindi po siya kasama dahil ipapangalan na natin siya sa mismong dulo ng name ng compound. Malalaman natin later on. So, unahin natin yung 5-ethyl. Bakit po 5-ethyl lang nauna? Eh, mas maliit na, mas nauna ang 2 kaysa sa 5. Doesn't matter. Yung mismong, ano ba tawag dito? Yung mismong, what do you call about this? I forgot. Yung mismong name, ay mismong number is doesn't matter. Yung mismong order of their respective name is, so pangalan niya is 5-ethyl, then 2-methyl heptane. So yun po yung kanyang pangalan. 5-ethyl, 2-methyl heptane ang kanyang pangalan. I hope na naintindihan niyo po. And then next po, actually medyo marami tayo magiging examples for the branch chain alkane. No? Madali na po yung alkene at saka alkyne once na naintindihan natin itong portion na ito. Yan. So, yan yung portion. So, una, alamin natin yung kanyang parent chain. So, yung kanyang parent chain is, ayan. So, yun yung kanyang parent chain. And then, next po, yung numbering. Kung tutusin, identify nga natin. So, isulat natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So, yung 3 yung malapit. And then, dito sa portion na ito, medyo ulit, gawin natin kabilaan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, tama lang or sakto or pantay lang. Pero sa tingin ko, mas effectively ang gawin natin, dito tayo muna mag-base sa mismong ganitong klaseng setup. No? Na unahin muna natin itong right to left na direction. Because we use the alphabetically ordered letter. So, ethyl muna bago methyl. Bakit ethyl? So, tandaan natin na ito ay ethyl. And then, ito ay methyl. Then, dito naman is methyl ulit. So, ayan. So, ayan na po yung setup natin. So, nandito na tayo sa, naipangalan ko na yung mga branches and then, present dito yung 3-ethyl. Since dalawa yung kanyang edge, or dalawa yung kanyang vertices. No? And then, wait, I have something to do with this kind of error in this part. So, meron tayong napansin din dito na sa 4 and 5 methyl, meron tayong lalagyan na isa pang klaseng prefixes, no? So, instead of putting down methyl only, we must write dimethyl. Bakit po dimethyl? Dalawa po yung present na methyl substituent po dito. So, ang pagpapangalan natin is 4 to 5 di, no? Or should I rewrite this once again? So, 4 to 5 dimethyl heptane. Yun po yung wag natin kakalimutan, no? So, suddenly, those prefixes, no? Those prefixes like di, tri, and tetra, no? They are not taken into account in alphabeticity. No? Correct me if I am wrong regarding din sa mismong term na alphabeticity. So, in terms of that, yun yung tatandaan natin, no? But instead of yung nangyari kanina, we must observe of putting kung ilan yung present na metal substituent or ethyl or kung ano man yung klaseng substituent na yun, we must put the proper prefixes na pwede nating ilagay doon para mas ma-determine kung ilan yung substituent na present doon sa mismong skeletal formula na yun. So, yan po. The next po is we must need to know the different kinds of substituent para mas familiar tayo. Marami tayong mga makakaligta mga iba't ibang klaseng substituent just like this. Yan. Meron tayong mga iba't ibang klaseng substituent just like this. Like for this kind of example, ayan, una, pangalawa, pangatlo, tsaka pang-apat. Yan. So, ang tawag dito sa portion na ito is isopropyl, yung kanyang structure. And then dito naman is third butyl. No? Or should it, because it is a tertiary, no? Since tatlo yung kanyang branch edges na nandito. And then dito naman sec butyl. And then dito naman sa portion na ito is isobutyl. Natandaan natin yung mismo mga structure na yan. That because these kind of substituent, they are known as the secondary carbon that, oh, I'm sorry about this. Medyo wala na ako dun sa mismong whiteboard. That attached to the chain. Yun yung tatandaan natin. So, just remember about this. So, I will give another complicated problem. Siguro dalawa na lang, no? Para mapag-proceed na tayo dun sa sa next part ng ating lesson. So, ayan, alam ko madali na lang siya. So, we must need to determine the parent chain. Ito, yung nasa edge na ito. Yan. And then, next, pangalanan natin kung ano yung mas malapit. Mas malapit yung portion nito. So, 1, 2, 3. Oh my. Yan. 3, 4, and then 5. And then, suddenly, dalawa yung methyl na present dito. So, I will write methyl. And then, dito sa portion nito, methyl. Ayan. Dalawa yung methyl na, methyl substituent. So, ang gagawin natin, pangalanan natin yung mga branches na pangalanan natin. So, 2 methyl, tsaka 3 methyl. Tandaan natin, may mga prefixes tayo na dapat sundin since dalawa yung methyl na present dito. So, we must write the 2, 3. Oh, I will write down. So, 2, 3 dimethyl. So, ayan po yung kanyang pangalan. And then, since 5 po yung present na carbon, 5 present carbons ang nakita natin sa skeletal formula, pangalanan natin siyang pentane. So, ang pangalan sa kanya is 2,3 dimethyl pentane. Medyo hiwalay, dapat medyo magkadikit sila ng konti at magkasama bilang isang word. Ayan. So, ganun naman po kasimple ang pagpapangalan natin ng skeletal formula. And then, lastly, last example for the alkane structure. So, I will draw. Ayan. So, ayan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. No? Bakit nandito tayo sa right to left direction? Kasi nakita natin na mas malapit yung substituent dito sa portion na ito. Kaya yun ang sinunod natin. Yung parent chain, nakita naman na natin and then nabilang ko na yung parent chain niya. And then suddenly, yung mga branches na present dito is meron tayong tatlong methyl group na nakita dito. And then, ang papangalanan natin sa kanya is, yan nga, 3 and 4, 4. No? 3 and 4, 4 dito sa edges na ito. Since parehas naman present ang methyl, yung methyl substituent niya. 3, 4, 4, trimethyl. And then 6 yung kanyang carbon chain. So, trimethyl hexane. Papangalanan natin sa kanya. So, ganun lamang po yung pagpapangalan ng mismong sample natin. So, ayun lamang po. So, proceed na tayo sa next portion ng ating. So, next po yung unsaturated hydrocarbons. Meron tayong dalawang types ng unsaturated hydrocarbons katulad na sinabi ko po kanina, which are the alkanes, which are the double bonds, no? So, kapag sinabing alkane, it is the simplest alkene is ethene, which contains 2 carbon atoms with a double bond in between. Its common name is ethylene, a gas usually associated with the ripening of fruits. No? And then next po yung alkynes, or sabihin natin na ito ay triple bonds. The simplest alkyne is ethyne or ethyne, which is commonly called acetylene, an industrial gas used in welding metals together. Then next po, to become more specific in terms of alkenes, hydrocarbons containing double bonds, and then their general formula is this CnH2n. They are unsaturated because the double bond is a reactive site for other atoms to bond to the carbon atom. So ganun lang po. So ayan po, meron tayong mga alkenes, meron tayong mga sudden prefixes and then proper names for the alkene, just like ethene, propene, butene, pentene, hexene, heptene, octene, nonene, decene, ganun. So ayun po yung example ng mga alkenes. So in naming alkenes, the parent chain must contain the double bond even if it is not the longest chain. So ayan po. Ayan siya. Identify na natin yung kanyang parent chain. So the parent chain carbon atoms are numbered starting at the end closest to the double bond. So bibigyan natin sila ng priority dito sa part na ito, no? And then the position of the double bond is indicated in the name by stating the number of the carbon atom in the parent chain that the double bond follow. That the double bond follow. So nakita natin 1 pentene, no, ang present talaga dito. Yan. Kasi kailangan natin i-priority yung mismong double bond, no. So dito talaga magsisimula 'yun, di ba po? So tawag sa kanya is 1 pentene. So ayun na po 'yun. And then number 3, we must need to name the branches, no. So may nakita tayong branches kung kanina na-determine natin ang kanyang parent chain. Ito yung kanyang parent chain. Kung nakikita ninyo, nilalaseran ko siya. Ang kanyang branches is ito, which is isa siyang example ng ethyl group. And then we must name the compound, which is 2-ethyl-1-pentene, no? So ayun na po siya. And then nagtataka tayo, bakit naging dalawa yung kanyang ethyl? That because dalawa yung kanyang chain dito sa part na ito. 1 and 2. No? And then bakit nauna yung pentene compare sa ethyl? No, sinabi niyo naman po kailangan bigyan ng priority. Opo, kailangan po natin bigyan ng priority, pero meron tayong arbitrary rule na kailangan sundin for alphabetic, na kailangan natin ipangalan ito through the means of applying the arbitrary rule, na kailangan natin itong alphabetical order. So mauuna syempre ang letter E kumpara sa letter B, no? Alam naman natin yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng letra pagdating sa in terms of applying alphabetical order, no? And then ayun na po, no? So sample problem yan. Kumbaga hindi natin, mamaya ko ipapakita yung branch, ito yung branch chain, o yun nga, mamaya ipapakita ko yung skeletal formula niya sa mismong sample problem natin para mas magets nyo po siya. Okay, so nakita natin na ito ay straight line, and then usually ito na yung mismong parent chain, and then nabibilang na natin yung kanyang parent chain. So alamin natin kung ano yung mas priority, ano yung dapat natin bigyan priority muna, which is dapat yung mauna dito yung double bonds. So nandito siya sa portion na ito. So kung ano yung mas malapit, ayun yung uunahin natin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So ang tawag sa kanya is 2-hexene, since 6 po siya, no? Tingnan natin sa prefixes for the kind of reference for our references, and then yan, 2-hexene ang tawag sa kanya. Ayan, kasi yun ang mas malapit, di ba po? And then I must need to present some of the sample problems in branch chain alkene. So we will go to the whiteboard. So now nandito na tayo sa ating whiteboard para makita natin yung sample problems related to the branch chain alkene, no? Ang alkene ay isa po siyang unsaturated hydrocarbon na present dito ang double bonds, no? And then suddenly I will draw. So ayan, nakita natin yung skeletal formula niya, and then we must need to determine the parent chain. So yung parent chain niya is eto. Yan. So the next present din dito ang ayan, yung ating ethyl group. Bakit ethyl? dalawa po yung side vertices or endpoints niya. So, nasa ethyl substituent or nasa ethyl group siya. So, ayan. So, tandaan natin, unahin natin sa numbering ng parent chain is itong portion na ito. Bakit po yun? So, just remember, we must need to give a priority for those double bonds. No? Yun yung mas mahalaga. No? Tandaan natin. And then, suddenly, even though kahit may mga, may mga substituent na medyo malapit, kailangan pa rin bigyan ng priority yung mismo double bonds na iyon. And then, next, in terms of numbering, bilangan na po natin. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So, ayun po siya, no? So, since 5, yung kanyang present carbon dito is pentane. Ayan. And then, next po is may ethyl group na present dito at natapatan siya sa mismo 2 carbon point na nandun. So 2 ethyl pentane and then 2 ethyl and not pentane, no, but it is pentene, no, pentene yan, no. And then suddenly tandaan natin kung saan yung mismong nanumberan natin kung saan yung mismong present yung double bond. So present siya sa 1. So 1 pentene. So pagpapangalan natin is 2 ethyl 1 pentene. So ayan po. 2 ethyl 1 pentene. So ayan po, no. Nakita natin yung mismong structure niya, and then we must need to determine the parent chain, which is ito po. Ayan yung kanyang parent chain. And then present dito yung nakita natin na nandito sa portion na ito, na nandito siya sa una, yung double bond is nasa una. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then suddenly dito sa part na ito, tatlo yung present na methyl group na nandito. So ang ilalagay natin 2, 3, 4, since magkakasama naman sila. 2, 3, 4 trimethyl, since tatlo yung kanilang methyl group. And then since 6 siya, hexene. And then suddenly yan, nasa portion na yan, nasa 1. So, ang pangalan niya is 2, 3, 4 trimethyl 1 hexene, yung kanyang pangalan. Okay, and then next po, last but, so, ayan po. So, alam naman natin kung ano yung kanyang parent chain. So, ayan po, sa portion na ito. Ayan, ang parent chain niya. And then, i-prioritize natin kung alin yung mas malapit, no, na numbering direction ng carbon chain, kasi mas malapit yung kanyang, ano ba tawag dito? Malapit dito yung kanyang double bonds. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Since 5 siya, it is pentene. And then, nasa carbon 2, mas naging present ang double bond. And then suddenly may ethyl tayo, may ethyl group at saka methyl group. So 3 ethyl tsaka 4 methyl, no, methyl group. And then ang mangyayari sa naming ng kanyang skeletal formula, may arbitrary rule pa rin tayo, no, alphabetical order. 3 ethyl 4 methyl 2 pentene, no? So ayan po yung pangalan niya. So yun lamang po yung para sa alkene, no? Proceed na tayo dun sa next lesson. So ayan, nandito na tayo sa alkynes, no? So ito yung hydrocarbons that contains triple bonds, and then their general formula is CnH2n-2. So they are unsaturated. The double bond is di pala siya double bond, no, I'm sorry about this, but this is triple bond, no, I'm sorry about this. Triple bond is reactive site for other atoms to bond to the carbon atom. I'm sorry about this, but it is triple bond. And then in terms of naming alkynes, the same rules of naming the analkene will be applied. However, yung mismong pangalan niya is Y&E, no, instead of using E&E, kasi ginagamit na natin dito is triple bonding, no. So ito po yung kanilang prefixes and then their respective names in alkyne, just like ethyne, propyne, butane, pentyne, hexyne, heptyne, octyne, notyne, decyne. So ayun po yung example niya. So alamin natin yung kanyang parent chain and then their number of parent chain. So nakita natin dito na ito ang kanyang parent chain. So bibilangan natin 1, 2, 3, and 4. So nakita natin dito na hindi pala 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, no? So nakita natin dito na mas ipa-priority muna natin yung triple bonds, no? At ito ay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no? So ito ay pentane, pero hindi pentane na ipapangalan natin, kundi ito ay pentyne, di ba po? Kasi ginagamit na natin ngayon is alkynes at hindi po alkene at hindi rin po alkane, no? And then may nakita tayong substituent, ito ay isang methyl group, no? So ang tamang sagot dito is 3-methyl 1-pentyne. So, ganun lamang po kasimple. Tandaan natin, sa naming po is alphabetical order po. Kahit binigyan natin ng priority ang pentyne dito, 1-pentyne, meron pa rin tayong arbitrary rule na kailangan sundin. Ayan, so 3-methyl 1-pentyne. Napakita ko sa inyo yung sample problems dun sa branch chain alkyne. So, ayun na po, no? Lipat po ulit tayo sa whiteboard. Yan, no? So, nandito na tayo sa alkyne, no? Nandito na tayo sa mga nasa alkyne chain na tayo. Then I must present the example. Then I will write the branch chain. And then alam natin na ang alkyne is present dito yung kanyang triple bonds, no? So ayan. So ayan po yung sample natin, and then suddenly alam naman natin ang kanyang parent chain. Eto, nasa portion na yan. And then in terms of numbering the parent chain, mas i-priority natin ulit yung mismong triple bond. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5. And then present dito yung ethyl group, and then may triple bond dyan. So nakita natin na 3-ethyl. Mag-name tayo ng mga branches, and then 1-pentyne. Yan. So ang pangalan niya is 3-ethyl 1-pentyne. Yan, 3-ethyl 1-pentyne. Then last two, since tatlo lang po yung ipapakita ko pong example. So ayan. So in terms of naming, no, mas prioritize natin yung mas malapit sa triple bond. So I will write this up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then nakita natin dito since 6 siya, so 3-hexyne. I don't know, not 3 but 2. I'm sorry about this. 2-hexyne. And then nakita natin na tatlo yung kanyang methyl, at dito nakakonekta yung parehas nakakonekta sa 4-carbon chain yung mismong methyl substituent. So 4-4 yung mangyayari, 4-4, then 5 trimethyl. Yan. So ang pangalan niya is 2, I know, may mali ako. Tama nga ba? Tama nga, mas mauna yung ano. So mauna is 4-4-5 trimethyl 2-hexyne. So yun po yung pangalan niya. Then yan na po, no? I hope na nagigets nyo po, no? So last one is ito na po. I will write the triple bond. I will draw the triple bond. Alam naman natin kung saan mas malapit. So we must number the parent chain. 1, 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Para mas hindi kayo malito. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Present ang triple bonds at saka yung may isa ditong present na ethyl group at isang methyl group, no? So, ang mangyayari dyan is ito po, 4 ethyl and then 4 methyl and then 2 pentyne, no? So, ang mangyayari sa naming is mauna yung letter E. 4 ethyl, 4 methyl, and then 2 pentyne. So, yun lamang po. Ganun lang kasimple yung kanyang naming, pentyne. So, ayun na po, no? So, proceed na tayo sa susunod nating lesson, no? So, mamove na ito. So, proceed na tayo sa cycloalkanes and aromatic rings, no? So, ayan na po siya. So, in terms of cycloalkanes, ayan, una, the carbon atoms may bond to each other and form a cyclic structure, or yun nga, isang cycle or paikot, pero hindi talaga siya isang circle, hindi talaga siya literally a circular structure, but may mabubuo ditong cyclic structure lamang, no? So yan ay isang halimbawa ng cycloalkane, and usually in some other in typical references mag-exist siya bilang ganito. Ayan, pagiging isang, teka lang, medyo mahina ako sa sa shapes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pentagon. Nakabuo siya ng pentagon na dahil din dito. And then in terms of naming cycloalkanes, the ring that contains the greater number of carbon atoms is the parent chain. So the prefix cyclo is placed before the parent chain name. And then, ayan po, yung structure na yan natawag, ang kanyang parent chain is cycloheptane. And then number 2, the carbon atoms are numbered either clockwise or counterclockwise. So the lowest number are used to identify the placement of the branches. It's like this. Yan ulit. And then nakita natin yung na-identify na natin yung lowest number to identify their respective placement. So may nakita tayong 1 ethyl at saka 2 and 5 dimethyl. So we must name the branch. So ayan na po siya. Number 4, we must name the compounds, just like 1 ethyl, 2 and 5 dimethyl cycloheptane. Yun ang kanyang respective name. So if the ring structure is not the longest continuous carbon chain, then it is named as a branch with prefix cyclo and ends in YL, no, or il, no? So just like this. Yan, ano yung kanyang parent chain, ano yung kanyang branch, at saka ano yung kanyang compound name. So ang parent niya at saka branch at saka compound name niya is ito. Ang parent niya is pentane. Ang kanyang branch is 2-cyclobutyl, and then yung compound is 2-cyclobutyl pentane. So yun po yung pangalan niya. Then next po, ano ang kanyang pangalan? Tandaan natin na meron tayong rule na kailangan sundin. Parent chain, number ng parent chain niya, kailangan natin pangalanan yung respective branches niya at saka yung name ng mismong compound na ito. So ang tawag sa kanya is 1,1-dimethyl 3-propyl cyclopentane. Then next po, ano yung kanyang parent chain? Yan, ulitin ko lang. So I will give you a time, pwede nyo i-post, no? So tawag sa kanya is 2-cyclopropylpentane. Yun lang po, ganun lang po kasimple. And then mapunta na tayo sa aromatic hydrocarbons. Medyo malapit na tayo matapos. So benzene is a hydrocarbon with 6 carbon atoms sa isang ring. And then it has the molecular formula na C6H6, just like this. So ayan, meron ditong present na dito yung kanyang double bonds, and then ma-determine natin siya as a benzene. Para siyang ring, para siyang chip na nakikita natin sa piatos. Ayan. So there is more than one way of drawing its Lewis structure. Equivalent Lewis structures are called resonance structure. Yan ha, tandaan natin. So in this shape can also be drawn as ganyan. And then yan, no, meron tayong example. Ano yung kanyang pangalan? Apply lang natin yung rule, no? So ang pangalan niya is yan, meron na tayong respective numbering, di ba po? And then ang pangalan niya is dimethyl and ang pangalan niya dimethyl benzene, no? Yan yung kanyang pangalan. And then in terms of naming aromatic hydrocarbon, some organic compounds have benzene, no, as a branch. And then in this case, the branch name is phenyl, no? And then example, Magbibigay lang ako ng ilang example, siguro 3 example. So, apply lang natin yung previous nating instruction pagdating sa naming ng ganitong klaseng hydrocarbon compound or aromatic hydrocarbon compound. So, pwede nyo post, pero ang kanyang answer is 1,4-diethyl 2-methylbenzene. So, ayun po siya. So, next po. We must need to determine the parent chain and we must need to determine the number of parents. Parang ganun lang din, no? Kumbaga, binabanggit ko pa, alam naman na natin, no? So, ang kanyang name, no? Pwede nyo i-post, no? Pero ang kanyang name is 2-phenylhexane, no? And then, lastly, ano yung kanyang pangalan? May double bonds at present yung mismong phenyl, yung mismong phenyl, no? Ano man tawag dito? Yung branch name niya. So, 1,2-diphenyl 1-ethyl. So, ayun po yung kanyang respective name. So, iba, no? At tatapos na natin yung ilan sa, actually, medyo mahirap din talaga. Pero once na may apply talaga natin talaga yung paghahanap ng kanyang mga hydrocarbons as well as naming it, na magigets talaga natin tutusin. Madali lang naman siya as long as meron tayong alam natin yung guide or yung mismong references on how, or instruction on how to kumbaga kailangan lang talaga natin masterin yung mismong instruction on how to name such kind of hydrocarbons. So yun lamang po, and then kita-kits po sa susunod nating lesson. Leave a comment below kung meron kayong mga questions and clarifications. So that's all for today. Goodbye.